Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the original Loretta Brown Show, radio to open the heart, heal the soul, awaken the consciousness. Good morning, Mr. Benny. How are you?
Hi there, doing very well. Happy April 13th. Not Friday the 13th, so we're still lucky here.
Yeah,
So we're all right.
That's right.
We're okay.
We're okay. We can breathe, right? Yeah,
For now.
we can breathe. Thursday the 13th
Yeah.
of April. Can you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I see you're wearing green today.
Yeah, trying to keep it festive around here. You know, it is the Emerald State. So that's
right.
what we got to do.
You got to do something. That's for sure. Yeah. The weather, I don't know what's going on.
A little cloudy. Nothing too.
Yeah, one of my family members lives. Oh, I think several of them. We have a sibling text line where we all text each other, and a couple of people were like, well, it was 70 yesterday and 32 and snowing today, right?
Riding that roller coaster wave.
Yeah, so it's kind of go along with everything that's going on. But anyway, I'm going to jump right in.
All right.
I have a great guest today. I am the owner of Reiki Oasis, located right here in the greater Seattle area for the last going on 30 years. I know that's crazy. You can find out more about me at ReikiOasis.com. And I am booked out. For those people that are contacting me wanting to know if something's wrong with my scheduler, know that it is not. There's nothing wrong with the scheduler. You just are going to have to wait a little bit to get in. So, yeah, thank you for your patience in advance. Thank you to my patrons. I'm a listener-supported show. And from my heart to yours, big, big thank yous. I have several things coming up. I have a class for women that meets once a month called Temple of the Divine Feminine. We're meeting April 22nd, and I hope you can join us. And then I'm going to Egypt in November. Going to take some people with, and if you're interested in that, send me an email at reikioasis@gmail.com. Welcome to the last week of Aries season and the last week of all planets moving direct, and the last week before eclipse season begins. Wow, we have been feeling a powerful Aries activation in our personal planets interacting with Chiron, the wounded healer, which is making a conjunction with Jupiter at 22 degrees Aries today, April 13th, today. And my guest is also in Aries. When I bring him on, I'm like, woo, what fortuitous things. The healer, the beautiful lucky star, and fire all coming together. This brings a culmination of the last couple of months of astrology. With Jupiter at 22 degrees Aries, we're like potent seeds waiting to sprout and express our true spiritual selves. 22 is a master builder number, helping us create whole new realities and seek the full expression of beauty and power from our super souls. This can be intense if these energies have been suppressed and they're trying to open back up to the light of day. We are examining all the darkness that has been keeping any kind of feminine energies from shining their light over a long period of time. Mercury is in the Taurus retrograde shadow, will turn direct on April 21st, the first planet to go retrograde since the end of January, of course, will be Mercury. So pay attention to that. There's also an eclipse. There's kind of a weird aspect with the sun. So it could be just kind of a rumbling around all the areas of communication. Mercury in Taurus made its first of 3 squares with the black moon Lilith on April 11th, earlier this week, and possibly is bringing some sort of tension into your awareness. A lot of people are telling me that they feel really good on one side, and then on the other side, they're like, I feel a little apprehensive, like is something going to happen? So remember that we free yourself from all of these negative energies by staying in the love energy. Always, always go up. Mercury retrograde in Taurus is about healing ourselves to feel worthy of our own abundance and preparing us to receive the positive changes to come. Jupiter and the sun together are about embodying the truth of who we are as advanced spiritual beings. And for some, it feels we are being asked to leave everything behind and take a big leap into the unknown. And others, as you know, jump without reservation. It is inevitable we are moving forward. So my invitation's always get on board, right? Get on board. With Pluto coming into square with the nodes of the moon, we're experiencing a life-changing moment. And brace yourself for what is to come. The sun will square up to the nodes of the moon just as it moves into the sign of Taurus on April 21st. This is a precursor energy as we prepare for the next 6 months of massive change. Who are we in relation to divine destiny? It is time to come back in alignment with the ultimate ideal timeline and get on with our new story. Venus is finishing up her time in Taurus, making us feel empowered after a sweet sextile with Neptune in Pisces. And Venus will move over into the sign of Gemini on April 12th. A few days later, Venus will create a tense square with Saturn in Pisces as we squeeze out any grief from the past we're still holding on to. So to put it in a nutshell, it is a time of healing, of moving forward, and as far as I'm concerned, stepping into our authentic selves and stepping into love. And with that, I'm going to bring my guest on. I'm so excited. My soul friend, my soul brother, Dr. Christopher Macklin is on the show today. Again, he is a highly respected globally as a spiritual teacher, an energetic healer, a UFO expert, a paranormal conduit, and a medical intuitive. He specializes in assisting people in achieving optimal spiritual, mental, emotional, physical health through addressing a wide range of mind, body, spirit imbalances, especially increased physical illnesses during the pandemic. He's written several books on mental health, raising the immune system, and manufactured illnesses. And Dr. Macklin is a frequent guest on radio shows and appears at health, spiritual, and UFO conferences across the country. He has a huge following on Telegram and over 250,000 followers on Facebook. I'm one of them. And during the past 11 years, he has been assisting UFO abductees. We are going to be discussing the abductions, his healing work, and possibly how to regain life after an abduction. Christopher, from my heart to yours, welcome to the show.
Yay, thanks, Loretta. It's wonderful to be here. Bless your heart. Woo!
I want to do like an Aries flame. You know how they do the wave here in Seattle? We could just do the
Yeah, I know, yeah. It's wonderful to be on.
Flame
bless
on.
your heart.
Yeah, bless yours too. You've been on my show before, and I know people can go back and look at that, but you know, we have talked about your healing work before, and of course I do want to launch into that. Yeah, I'm going to start right there because then I'm going to do the next thing. On one of my previous shows, you had mentioned that when you were a child, that you saw a reptilian sitting on the end of your bed. And that picked my ears up, and I wanted to bring you back and really kind of delve a bit into UFOs, but I don't want to neglect your healing work either. So what are star seeds?
Well, let me see.
I threw all that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. A starseed is somebody who's come down. You know, the thing is about it, people don't realize that this planet, you know, to raise it, we've got to help people and raise their vibration as a collective. And because there's free will down here, you can't just say, okay, God, change it, because there's free will. Even Prime Creator can't change anything down here because that's the rules that Prime Creator put in. So what they've done is they got some volunteers. Now, listen very carefully. They said, so God said, look, I want volunteers. So I said, well, I'll do it, you know. Yeah, I'll do it. And then, you know, maybe next time, just pretend you got diarrhea, go to the toilet and don't come out and, oh, the volunteers taken, but I'm just joking. So you're a volunteer, you come down here, you don't have to be here, and you get down here, you know, up there, they show you different things that happen on the planet. Are you okay with it? Yeah. Oh, no problem. We'll conquer it. You get down here, you think, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Because it's a tough place to live. And I deal with a lot of people, probably work on about 2,000 people a week. And a lot of people starseeds are struggling because I hear all the time, like, well, I got down here, I don't belong on this planet. Well, you don't. It's not your planet. So don't try and belong. What you have to do, I think, as personally, is navigate, stay out the matrix, navigate the planet, and do things that you really enjoy, like, get back to basics, go and work, walk amongst trees, cook some food, have a laugh, have a glass of wine with it. People say, well, I can't drink, can't. Well, what do? You're down here. You gotta have some fun. Put some music on, dance around like a bad person, start having fun again. Because the planet, all we can do is try and help as much as possible. And, I know you do, I do, and there's a lot of people doing their best to help people rebalance themselves, especially in these times, because the amount of anxiety in the crystal grid around the planet's huge. I mean, one of my jobs is to clear it, and we clear it every week with the Acturians, but it's not enough. But you can't, I asked, can we clear it every day? And I said, no, because if you cleared it and you do everything for people, then you're just red pilling them. They're not understanding and learning instruments, how to release, this anxiety. I mean, we have a prayer at the moment, and I would suggest everyone use it because it will really help, and it's, if you feel as though you've got a brick on your chest, wow, it's anxiety, but I don't feel anxious, but I can feel this brick on my chest. It's the collective energy. And I think, the prayer basically is just to cup your hand around it, remove it, and send it back to God to transmute and disperse in any the way God knows how. It's a simple prayer, but by goodness, it works and it really helps. So yeah, that's what a starseed is.
Yeah, I love what you said, and also because, yeah, I've been noticing in the last few years, and I don't know if it escalates or it just gets busier, more people are coming, but anxiety, frustration, stress, fear. It's almost like it's gotten locked in the nervous systems of people, or it's inside their bodies in some fashion to where it does, all these release things that you do, like with the vagus nerve and whatnot, are not really working. And that those negative thought forms or that influence from the outside. Yeah. So your prayer, where can people find your prayer?
Yeah, if you go to the website, globalenlightenmentproject.com, and have a look in the prayers or map. I like the word map of intent because it's a map of intent. Have a look down them and have a look at the prayer to remove the collective energy. And we also have another one to protect yourself, because of course, if your vibration drops, when your vibration lowers and reaches these lower vibrational beings like Anunnaki, Draconian, snake type beings, archons, Luciferians, they can attach to it because your vibration's in symbiote with them. So one of the keys, I think, of healing is that whilst, I can remove the entity, but that's great. And then, we do some healing, you get your vibration a little bit higher, but it's still not high enough to create a field where they can't get within your field. So it takes a little time to release that emotion. So as you're doing it, it's important to say a protection prayer to keep them out. Otherwise, if they're just going to reattach again. So we do have another prayer, which is the 27 esoteric Merkaba field prayer. It's probably one of the most powerful prayers we've written. And it's just basically producing these 27 esoteric Merkaba field around you, so that it's a high vibrational field. So these beings can't break through it. And I always suggest to people, do it 3 times a day to keep these entities out. Morning, mid-afternoon, evening, and then it'll really help you. And your healing will go a lot faster, of course, because you're not getting a reattachment and dragging your vibration down.
So you said a whole lot of things there, which I know some of my listeners probably just went, like, what are you talking about, right? Other listeners know what you're talking about, right? Like, have a broad audience out there. So I want to ask a couple of questions about these beings that you're talking about. You rattled off a bunch of names there. And are these beings 3D? Are they for? Are they energetic? What are they? And how
Well, here,
yeah.
they're in the same space, but a different time. So let's take the Luciferians in the fourth dimension. Here, they're energy fields, but they can switch in this dimension and be actually physically present. Same with Anunnaki. They hang in the fourth dimension, which is basically the dimension where humanity's anxiety and everything resides. And so they feed off that, of course. But again, they can switch in this dimension. Same with Draconians. The snake-type beings, there's first and second dimension, scarab beetle-type things, snake-type things, octopus-type things. They're lower density beings, but again, they can attach to you. It's a spirit here. And then you've got archons, which actually, archons, I don't even know this, but don't have any body. They're purely energetic, but they float through the second, third, and fourth dimension. So, of course, when they attach to you, it's like having negative energy attached to you. So yeah, that's the sort of beings. I mean, if you look at Jesus' teachings, I'm not a Christian, but I love Jesus' teachings, and he talked about demonic entities. I think he just gave it a global name. I'm removing these entities, and this is what beings are trying to manipulate us.
Yeah, thank you. You pulled that question right out of my head. I was just gonna ask. That's funny. I went, oh, that's what I was just gonna ask. In the work that you do, in the healing work that you do, you come across these beings?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time. I mean, I would say probably 99.7% people who come for healing do have some sort of attachment, and the most common is actually Anunnaki. Now, the Anunnaki can be up to 10 foot 7, 11 foot tall. They look like a velociraptor. They're scaly and snarly beings, but they're not as aggressive as like Draconians. Draconians are very dark, and if you get those attached, you get pretty sick pretty quickly. Anunnaki tend to just ride around with you, and they tap in the lower back, they send you negative thoughts, and you get all this like thoughts like good, and that was useless. Anything you do, that was useless, pathetic, and they do that 24/7, and people start to believe these. It's like a you thought, but people turn it into an I thought, so always police your thoughts. Like, is that really my thought? No, it's not. So send it back, but the biggest thing is removing these entities and keeping them out so that, you can get your vibration up, take your power back, and, be a warrior in this world, because, otherwise people, I hear a lot, become powerless, like, well, what can we do about the government? What can we do about this? What can we do about that? And the answer is, well, you're here on this planet to make a change, and even the smallest changes can be really big, and you never realize how much work you do.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit? I mentioned earlier about this event when you were little, and how did you get into this work that you're doing? Yeah.
Well, when I was 4, I recognized. I mean, I could see things, and I can see these beings. I can see through the veil, and it's good because, of course, I can even remote view into people's space. Oh, you've got an entity attachment, Anunnaki. And so when I was 4, of course, you're young, and suddenly this reptilian thing appeared in the corner of the room. Oh my God, Dad, there's a reptilian in the corner of the room. He comes running. Where? I thought, oh, you can't see it, and it was standing there snarling, and I thought, wow, okay, so it's just a bad dream. But I knew it was something because I could feel when these beings are near you, you get this feeling of like darkness in your heart, like, wow, this is not good. And so he said, oh, just settle down, and went downstairs. And of course, the thing's still there, and thought, and suddenly I just blurted out, get out of my room, and it went. But wow, that worked. So with the power of like, even the age of 4, get out of my room, gone. And so I realized that, and so I kept doing it, and eventually they didn't appear so much, and so that was quite a significant encounter. But I also realized at even the age of 4 that if I kept telling my father about these beings and things, he'd probably take me to a psychiatrist and put me on some Ritalin type stuff or whatever. So, so I kind of kept quiet. And the same with UFOs, I can see them in the sky, even though they're not visible to people. I can see them through the veil, and so when they're flying, like, Dad, there's a UFO in the sky. Oh, blimey, this guy's nuts, but it's not, it's just a gift. everyone has different gifts, of course. So that was hard to keep to yourself, and and not really speak to people, because they would berate you. They think, "God, you're nuts. What are you? You're schizophrenic, or what's the matter with you?" So it's crazy.
So when did you get into this project that you're doing, or really get into this work? Like, because at some point you had to sort of, as I say, cross that line into going, okay, this is really happening. I'm experiencing this, right? Like, I'm seeing these beings, and I'm seeing these UFOs and all that kind of stuff. And what brought you all the way in?
Well, basically, I mean, I spent I got a degree in masters, which is interesting because I've got severe dyslexia. My father thought I was really thick, and he said, "Oh, you're too thick to get a degree. I'm going to get one. Too thick to get a master's." I got one of those as well. And, so I always did the opposite to him. And I'm glad he berated, because he pushed me into doing it, I think. So anyway, got a degree in masters, flight control systems, worked for various companies like Marconi and British Aerospace, whatever. And I worked for 21 years, but I still saw these things, and I kept looking around thinking, is this it? It can't be it on this planet. I'm here to do a lot bigger things than just this software stuff, Anyway, I left there, and, I had some houses. We started building apartments. And then in 2007, I went completely bankrupt. And it was like the dark night of the soul, marriage split up, at the same time going bankrupt. And my father got me a Volkswagen Polo, which is a really small car, and I'm 6'5". So, and I was kind of half living out of that. Sometimes I could stay at people's houses, but most of the time, I was living out of this car. And it's a bit crazy sometimes, without food and everything else. But it's taught me so much about stuff, like houses, cars, whatever. Stuff doesn't matter. What matters to me is people. Completely about people. So. I wound up from losing millions of pounds to ground zero. And I was so blessed by that. Would I want to do it again? No, definitely not. But I needed that lesson. It's like a 6x8 over there, like whack, and then my life completely changed. And tried to get a job, couldn't get a job. And one day, I tried 36 jobs, even a janitor, whatever, just to earn some money so I could get some food. No. And I said, okay, God, why can't I get a job? You're not meant to. Oh, okay. Focus on the healing. Okay, so what I did is, 4 6 hours days to meditate, looking at cause and effect, and the Melchizedek beings, of which I, realized I was one of the 5 here. They taught me cause and effect. It took about 3 or 4 years to really understand healing. Because my opinion is that if you don't understand the cause and effect, then how can you heal it? Because it's not just a bit of energy. There's a whole lot of other things associated with sickness. And one of the primary ones, in my opinion, is emotion. Emotion causes so much sickness. It's unbelievable, especially now, with what's happened in the world. So it's amazing.
So you, when did you first begin to work with abductees?
Mainly when I got over here. I came here in 2010, and I rented an office, build it, they'll come. They didn't. I said, where are they? It's within, get out there. And, oh, okay. So I started going around conferences, and, smaller ones first, because, of course, I didn't have much money behind me, and built it up over a period of time, and met a lot of really interesting people. And, I've seen a lot of abductees. I mean, many abductees. And when the Greys were abducting people up till about 4 or 5 years ago, of course, there was an agreement between the governmental systems and the Greys, where here's the technology, we want body parts, And I actually chaired the Galactic Federation meeting, which actually swept them off the planet, which is interesting. That was, I can't remember exactly the year, because the last 3 or 4 years has just like disappeared. But it's interesting because they swept them off the planet. Because think about this, what's the difference between violation and education? And people often say to me, well, entities are violating you, but they're not. Why is that? Because when you come down here, you know what's going to happen on the planet. You know about these entities. Then it's up to you to learn how to get them out. It's an education. It's like a classroom. That's an education. What happens if your government signs a contract saying, well, you can abduct people and steal their eggs and sperm? That's a violation because you're paralyzed, they're violating your body, and they're using your eggs and sperm to produce grey humanoids. So, that is a violation. So they swept them off the planet. But yeah, I've dealt a lot with abductees, and it's so sad. I mean, I know one person who was abducted. When they came back, their left ovary was missing, and there was blood and things like this. So I've dealt with another, person. These are just examples. Another person in Florida were abducted. When she came back, she felt as though she'd been raped. It's just awful. These things are awful. But and people need help with releasing the emotion of that and realizing that, okay, yeah, it's a violation, but let's turn it around as maybe a positive thing to take your power back. I always believe that the most difficult things in your life are the best for growth. And, that's why I honor going bankrupt. People say, you must be nuts going bankrupt. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, honestly. Loretta, I don't want to do it again. Please don't. No more.
No. I'm thinking though, while you're talking, we're covering a lot of ground. We are going to take a station break in a minute. We're going to come back and get deeper into this UFO abduction concepts. And also you brought up some things, and there is that famous abductee. It's the Barney, what is it? Those people that were abducted. It's very, very famous. And I'm just letting the listening audience know right now that, you can do your own research on a lot of this, especially if you're skeptical listening to this show going, I'm not even sure I believe in UFOs or ETs or any of this Melchizedek stuff, Loretta. And I'm like, just listen with an open ear and allow yourself to question things and be a little curious. So anyway, this is Loretta Brown, my wonderful guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to delve deeper into abductions and what to do after that happens, especially for those people listening that actually had that happen. This is Loretta Brown. We'll be right back.
All right, all clear.
More and more these days, it feels like sports are losing out to hype. Who dissed who? Who signed the fattest contract? Who got busted for cheating? Lost 2 is the unique capacity sports have to inspire us, to unite us. Well, great news, sports fans. Sports are still being played for the right reasons. They're still as entertaining as they are character building. You just have to know where to find it. And you only have to look as far as your local Washington high school. The place where the games are exciting, concessions are affordable, and the parking is free. Where the emphasis is on hustle and heart instead of hype. If you prefer real, honest-to-goodness sport played for all the right reasons, you'll find it at your hometown high school. High school sports. Games are being played this weekend at a Washington high school near you. Okay, everybody, who's in?
This message presented by the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association and the Washington State Secondary Athletic Administrators Association.
Energy is powerful. It's all around us, mysterious, full of potential. Directing positive, healing energy to raise your vibrational rate through Reiki can change your life. Reiki Master Loretta Brown has relieved stress, sadness, anger, and even helped clients lose weight, stop smoking, and end sleep disorders. Worldwide, people have sought out Reiki Oasis. If you want help with your dis-ease, visit ReikiOasis.com. Harness life's energy. Visit ReikiOasis.com today.
Hi, this is Eric Ryder, Operations Manager for 1150 AM KKNW. We value your opinion and invite you to 1150kknw.com to fill out the 2023 KKNW Listener Survey. Your responses help us to shape KKNW to your listening needs. As an added incentive, when you fill out the survey, you'll have a chance to win an awesome prize. Complete contest details and your opportunity to help us shape this station can be found at 1150kknw.com.
Alternative Talk 1150, here to uplift your day.
Y'all ready to come back? All right, stand by.
Welcome back to the original Loretta Brown Show with my wonderful guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin. Just a reminder, these shows are archived and they're really all over the place. They're at the 1150 KKNW archives for the original Loretta Brown Show. We're on iTunes, Podcast One, Megaphone, Betty, woohoo, YouTube, Twitter. I don't know, we're all over the place. And you can download these shows and listen to them over and over and over again. A reminder that Dr. Christopher Macklin is with a global enlightenment project. And you can find lots about him at globalenlightenmentproject.com. And now, my dear friend, Dr. Christopher Macklin, I have some $1 million questions for you. Are you ready?
Are they difficult? I'll try it. We're ready. I'm an Aries.
I know. So am I. Aries twin power unite, right? You know. Anyway, I'm just having fun with you. I would like to ask you, what is a typical abduction like? Is there such a thing? Can you describe a scenario?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are different. Some people remember them. Most people don't, because they do wipe the conscious memory, but not subconscious. So if you really meditate, you can dig the information out. It takes a bit of time. But, you know, typical abduction, like you'll see a craft and then you'll see a being, they kind of paralyze you and then you're out. And then they take you up on the craft. And of course, then they're taking out whatever they want, body parts, eggs, sperm, something else. And then they suddenly put you back. And when you get back, you can feel that they've interfered with your womb or with your, your genitals for the men. And you get a big loss of time. Like, you know, they might take you and suddenly you've lost 3 hours. Suddenly it was 12 o'clock. Now it's 4 or 3 or something like that. I know my wife was involved with an incident where she was driving down with her mother to, I think it was Kansas City. And she's driving down, they're about halfway there. And then suddenly there's a lapse of time and suddenly she was there, you know, like the car was there in this guy's driveway. Where did that time go? So, you know, that's a sort of abduction thing, you know, keep an eye on the times and things. And like I say, this other lady who lost her ovary, she was abducted, suddenly 9 hours went by. And her parents were really upset, and she was actually literally on the doorstep with her ovary removed. And it was crazy. So, you know, but of course, when people go through these things, they have a lot of trauma with it. And it's important to release that emotion. You know, we have a fast track method of releasing emotions, kind of using psychic surgery effectively. But, you know, we could release, like, I don't know, we start off with 81 layers, 162, 324. As you build people up, they can cope with more emotional releases. Because, of course, if you go to a practitioner like a psychotherapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, you're going to sit in the room for an hour and they poke at a few layers, you bawl your eyes out, you talk about it, then, you know, we ingest way too much emotion, probably 150,000 layers, and it's way too much for a human being. So what the Melchizedek beings do is concentrate on the biggest emotions that are affecting your body right now, and then the next biggest. So it's really moving the emotions that are really affecting you in a deep way, you know. So
I saw that in my mind's eye as layers, right?
Yeah,
Taking those
absolutely.
layers,
Yeah.
because we are emoting and creating those layers. But
most people only take like the top layer off, the next top layer. So you can imagine if you took like 81 layers off the top of 150, 200,000 layers, you might only find one big emotional layers in those layers. That's why the Melchizedek beings go within the layers. Okay, what's your biggest emotion affecting you right now? Oh, it's that one. So they pull that energy out. Then the next one, you know, so I think it's a lot faster way of moving those big layers of emotion.
Yeah. I'm also thinking to myself that, you know, part of the process in my opinion, of course, you know, you're the expert here, but the idea that, number one, people may not know what happened to them. And number two, even if they can retrieve some of that, people don't believe them, right? Like,
No,
what are
they
you
think,
talking
oh, you're
about?
nuts. Yeah. Must have been a bad dream.
Yeah,
And that,
exactly. Yeah.
and all they really want is someone to hold the space who understands it. I mean, I've dealt with Illuminati fallout children where they've been abused like you would never believe, to the point where sometimes I listen to this stuff and I'm in tears. But but you can go over them and get the wisdom beyond forgiveness, where you can really inject positive energy in those past timelines, and it changes the whole perception of the now. But it's a long journey for these people. It really is.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question. So after someone has some kind of an incident, right? And how does that, and they come to you, right? And if I'm hearing you correctly, you're helping people with all kinds of things or fallout after that. But how does it really affect their life and affect their families and affect their daily activities?
Well, I think they struggle to get normality. I mean, it takes them a while. I mean, normally if you're working on, abductee, it happens quicker, I think. But if you look at Illuminati, what I call fallout children, where they've been in the place of sex trafficking or whatever they've been groomed, they've been, they've seen things that no child should ever see, and then they come out of that at the age of, say, 16 or 20, or even I've had one girl at 40. And it took about a year to really get her to, change and get rid of that anxiety, that PTSD, to a positive place. It just takes time, especially, I mean, people have no idea what I mean, maybe you do, I don't know, but I know you do, Loretta, but, people, general people in the street would, no, that can't happen to children. These things that happen to them are horrific, so. And I'm glad, I feel blessed that I can actually deal with it, because I know a lot of these, Illuminati fallout children, have tried going to a healer, and oh no, it's too much for me, And I'll sit there, even though I'm in tears, listening to it. I won't disclose that, because I want to just hold the space for them, and then work on them so they can get them back to some sort of normality.
Right. Yeah. So. This is an interesting question. A lot of people come to me and they talk about how they think they went to a spacecraft. Like, I do hear this from people, like, I don't know, Loretta, I think I went to a spaceship, and then they'll say, and I got upgraded, right? Or they did benevolent things with me. Is that also a reality, or are there benevolent ETs as well as negative?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a number of them. There's, of course, there's the Arcturians, obviously Melchizedek, but they don't do. It's the Arcturians who do the work for them. They work very closely together, Arcturians and Melchizedek beings, but they have craft, going around. We actually have 3 watches where, if things get crazy on the planet, they will take us off planet. And they've appeared before. I remember going down to a ranch, and the guy had problems with the greys. And it was a ranch where it was for horses, who were going to the slaughterhouse or whatever, and it was a sanctuary for them. And then what would happen is, the next morning, one of the horses would be dismembered because they'd been eaten or something, half eaten, and he was really upset by it, of course. So I went there and I worked on this portal for about a day, managed to open it, and then shut the whole thing down, and it stopped. And so, he didn't get any dismembered horses anymore, which is great. But I remember when I opened the portal, it was like a sonic boom. This thing was about 300 feet above us. And then the craft appeared, the watchers. There was 3 of them. And they're going like from 1 to 3, and they were about half a mile away. And I was talking about telepathy. I said, what are you guys doing? Well, you watchers, we just want to make sure you don't do something stupid. And so they were sitting there, and then 5 minutes time, the military helicopters come and start circling them and thinking, what do we do with these things? Anyway, I spent 40 minutes with this portal, shut it down, and then they left, bless them. So it's amazing. I've seen some things.
Wow. I'm just kind of listening to you with my mouth hanging open a little bit, going, wow. Yeah. So you have heard a lot of stories from people. And when people find their way to you, because I'm thinking, sometimes people say to me, Loretta, do you think I was abducted, or I can't, did I, how do people know if they've been abducted, and how do we protect ourselves?
Well, I think you can feel it in the subconscious, that you've been abducted. I mean, now, if the benevolent beings are taking you, they're taking you to upgrade your body or repair something and helping you out, So is that a violation? No, they're there to help. But, if you were being abducted by the Greys, of course, they were stealing body bits, which is not okay, but they don't do that so much, to be honest, Loretta, anymore. They were banned from the planet in this third dimensional space-time continuum. The problem, what they're doing now is they're opening portals on this planet. And so they've got around the ban by being inside a different time space in a portal and messing people with that. You see what I mean? They're a little bit cheeky, as they say.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. That actually makes some kind of sense to me. People talk about timelines, right? Like a lot of people are saying, oh, we got a timeline split, or a lot of people are like, well, I can help create the timeline I want to be on. There's all this timeline concepts. What do you want to say about timelines, and how does all of this affect timelines in different ways? I think you understand my question.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're on a timeline, the Akashic Records. I don't really know, because that beings created the Akashic Records.
Right.
Because they wanted to stop anybody going back in time and going on someone's timeline, altering it. That alters all history. The whole time space will be completely, wonked, basically. So they created it so that, you can't alter things of the past. But you can jump timelines, you can jump a timeline. For example, if you want to do something bad, you can go do something bad, end up in jail. Or you can go do God's work, and you could go and sell timeshares, you can go and work for you could do anything. There's infinite timelines. But to me, I mean, I just focus on the divine timeline, which is God's work. And I think, so I just stay on that timeline. And I think being on that timeline, as you work on yourself, it becomes more positive, more divine. You get into the place of gratitude, where your whole life is about gratitude. And I try and teach people that gratitude, to me, is one of the keys of knowing God's got your back. If you're grateful for everything, you just get so much more of, things without, but focusing. Gratitude to me is like a way of life. It's not just like, get a gratitude stone. Right, God, I'll give you 5 minutes. I'm grateful for my wife, car, we're done. It doesn't work like that. I think it's a way of life. So, but of course, if you keep that positive timeline, that also bleeds into the collective timeline. So the more people do that, of course, the more positive the collective timeline will be. So, and that's why, of course, the opposite side are trying to put people in fear, and get them off their divine timeline. And so there's a bit of a battle going on. It's amazing.
I love your answer. Thank you for that. During the break, you and I were talking a bit about, fear porn is what I call it. Getting too caught up in the thrill of all this negativity, right? And I so agree with you. I think gratitude, appreciation, love, these kinds of things go a long way. And then also, you brought this out, and I think it relates to your healing work as well, as my goodness, reconnect to nature, get outside.
Oh, I think that's key. Yeah. I mean, too many people, it's sad because, from the healing work I see, addictions are becoming huge, like gaming addiction, pornography addiction, huge, and people look at all this stuff, and it's got reptilian energy. It becomes very addictive, and the problem is it desensitizes people, of course, as well. And I think it's important to try and switch these things off. Even the truth-seeking stuff, there's a lot of disinformation in it. And so again, my advice is that people say, well, which channel should I watch? Well, again, it's your responsibility, go within. Is this resonating, or is this like blah, blah, blah? So if it's blah, 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 switch it off, It's funny, I said to Mandy one day, I said, darling, there's a new language in this. Have you ever heard of it? She goes, no, what is it? I said, they call it blah, blah, blah. It's an interlacial language, and everyone knows it. And even one of my clients in France, I said, what's the translation of blah, blah, blah? She goes, blah blah, like 3 times blah. I thought it's so funny.
I think you could just have blah 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 TV or blah blah blah,
Yeah,
podcast
absolutely.
or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a great thing. Also because we're talking frequency and vibrations and things like that, right? Like really gratitude, I think, just takes you right there, and it's a state of gratitude, right? It's a state of gratitude.
Well, when you're in that state, you have no fear because you know that everything's taken care of. God's got my back. Never have to worry about anything, money, things, nothing. You just, if you're doing God's work, you'll always be blessed. Would you be a multi-billionaire? Probably not, because you don't need it. And if you needed that money to do a big project, it would be there.
So tell us a little bit about your project, and I know you've started building, but you have a vision, I should say. What are you working toward? What are you doing?
We're working toward, we're building, and again, for the listeners, you may think, oh, this guy's nuts. Maybe I am, who knows? What's normal in this world? The answer is nothing. So yeah, my vision is that we're building some off-planet pyramids, big ones, 1,000 feet tall, 666.66 feet tall, 333.3 feet tall. And they're bringing them down to really help power up the ley lines of the planet, because there's so much symbology on the ley lines, and these things will have enough power to blow out that negative symbology and start feeding the ley lines and raise the vibration of the planet. It's a big project. We have to get 100,000 acres. And
wow.
These pyramids will just appear, of course, because they're off planet, so they'll transport them here. And you can imagine that if these things appear, oh my God, there is a God, and people want to come see them. And if you've got 50 million people want to see them a year, you've got to create some sort of infrastructure that's sensible, that they can see them, and you can feed them, and they can have a drink, and meditation gardens and all sorts of things. A hospital. It's a big project, and we've got the financiers working on the money for it. It's probably going to cost, believe it or not, about $200 billion. And so have you got that? No, nowhere near that. So
just here in your back pocket, no problem.
Yeah, I know. Hang on. Oh well, will $10 help? Probably not. But I always believe that if you hold the space for it, God, and I keep saying to God, yeah, I'm ready whenever you're ready. Just give us the check, make sure the ink's dry, and we're good to go. And it'll happen in stages, of course.
Yeah.
But the banking people who are involved are the top military people, white hat people. I don't like the word white hat. People who love humanity, and there's also banking people who love humanity as well. So they're putting it together, and that's their deal. Loretta, I don't know anything about the banking system. You just let them do that. I just focus on, we're doing it. So it's exciting because it will really help heal people as well. These pyramids, they're very different. So
yeah, I love that. So that brings me into the question. We talked a little bit toward the beginning of the show about the healing work that you do, but could you please let people know about that and tell them a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, we work on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Things like cancers, cystic fibrosis, genetic things, Lyme disease, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange, Morgellons disease. We've got different protocols for different things. We work on the intestines. A lot of people have intestinal issues at the moment, mainly because of emotion. It bleeds into the intestines, and of course, if your lower intestine's paralyzed, when you eat, it goes further down, backs up, ferments in the wrong place, and burns holes in the intestinal lining. So all these things, we work on the kidneys, liver, really everything, skin. So we have like twice a week now. I used to do it 3 times a week, but I put it down to twice a week. So Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time, and Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time is the general healing group. And I've actually cancelled today, so apologies for that, but because I took a few days off. But it'll be back on Saturday. So if anyone wants to join that, buy a donation. Don't shame yourself. If you've got no money, please come on, because I know what it's like to have no money. It's difficult. We also do specialized groups where we have up to 20 people. I talk to everyone, and then we do the healing after. And then we have one-to-one sessions as well. And of course, we've got the protocol to strip nanotech and stealth pathogens like early Lyme, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange, and also Morgellons particles. strips it out of the body using timeline splitting. So there's plenty to go on. We're just here to help people. Bless.
Yeah. I went through one of your protocols and had some amazing things come out through my skin, just saying to the people. And people want to know about that, you can ask me, but I recommend that you go to Global Enlightenment Project. And Christopher, can people find where to sign up for those things on your site there?
Yeah, absolutely. Just,
Right.
Email through the site, and we will get back to you. I mean, it's not a small enterprise. We have about 10 staff doing different things. And so we've got girls in the office who answer things, answer calls, and they do the bookings. People often say to me, why don't you use just a booking online system? And the answer is, I can't do that because we work on so many people. They have to create a sheet and, the main points about what's wrong with them. And then, when I talk to them, I fill in the sheet, put down what we're doing, and then recommend like whatever they do, more sessions or do the protocol or whatever, So it's impossible to me to do an online booking system. And I think it's really important to get that physical contact as well.
Yeah, I think it is too. It just helps you understand a little bit better what you do, because what you do is unusual. That's what I'm going to say. It's unique, and not everybody does it like that. The Melchizedek beings, you've mentioned Melchizedek beings a couple of times. Who are what are the Melchizedek beings?
They're in the ultimate dimension. They're involved with the part of the creation of the planet, not all of it. Prime Creator created the whole thing, but they're involved with some of the plants, some of the animals, and different things, and they're also involved with putting the Akasha records. And it's their job to actually police, kind of I don't know whether I want to say supervise, just police the planet to make sure things don't go south, and make sure things are maintained. And that's why, there's 5 of us here at the moment trying to help, like everyone else. There's Palladians, there's all sorts of Actorians. There's a lot of Starseed people doing the same sort of thing, to try and help the planet.
Yeah. So are you hopeful about the future?
Oh, yeah, God's got our back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's going to be positive. I think it's going to be amazing. It's just that it's always got to get darkest before the dawn. There's some people who, if you hit them over the head with a 2x4, it takes about 36 times to, there's something wrong, And I'm not putting them down. It's just some people just don't get it, And
right.
Like my father, he doesn't get any of it. He said to me one day, "You're barking mad." And I thought, wow, Dad, that's the best thing you've ever said to me. Woohoo! What a compliment. I'm barking mad. I love it.
I do too. I love it. Now, on your website, you have these prayers and you have meditations and you have all kinds of things. We're down to, I don't know, like the last minute or something, whatever it is. What message do you really have for the people? What would you like to tell them? And speak from your heart. Yeah.
I just want to say that, people don't realize how beautiful they are, how powerful they are. And I think, I've been there, powerless victim when I went bankrupt. It's really important to do some work on yourself and take that power back. To think, we can't go against the deep state and all this. But you can. You can hold the space for it, We're more powerful. God's more powerful than anything. Money doesn't matter, So really go within your heart, do some amazing things, like live a life of nature and get out of this matrix. I think it's really important. And take your power back. The day of the guru is gone. You are your own guru. Yeah.
And I keep telling people, go out and have fun with the people that you love, and do all that good stuff. So Dr. Christopher Macklin from Global Enlightenment Project also has books out there. Thank you so much for being on my show. Benny, you're the best. And bless everybody. Yeah. Thank you so much.